Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Testing Tricks. So today I would like to explain about backlog, product backlog and sprint backlog. So first I'll start with backlog. So backlog means client is giving, for example, 400 work items. Okay, so those 400 work items we have to implement, we have to validate, and finally we have to give those features to the client. So backlog means the work items or the list of work items or tasks that needs to be completed. That is the meaning of backlog. Okay. So the list of work items or task that needs to be completed. That is the meaning of backlog. So for example, they have given 400 work item. So now it's our responsibilities. We have to implement those. We have to test it and we have to release those feature or work items to the client. Okay, so now I'm coming to product backlog. What is product backlog? So we have already received 400 work items. So now product owner will prioritize 100 work items first. That means all 400 work items are not covering all the major functionalities. So product owner will decide which are the major functionalities. So he has to prioritize all main features or major functionalities. Only those functionalities he will add into our product shared location or repository location for the implementation. Okay, so I'm just giving one example that we are considering only 100 work items or feature out of 400, and as those are the major functionalities and we are adding those backlog items to our product shared or repository location for the implementation. So that is the meaning of product backlog. Okay. Okay. So product owner will decide which are those 100 backlog items or major functionalities. First, we'll target those items or feature. Then after that, we'll go for the another 100 work items. In this way, we have to proceed. Okay. That means in product backlog, we are considering only the major features out of 400. So in this example, we are adding only 100 work items into our product shared or repository location for the implementation so that developers and testers can understand these are the work items we have to target first. Okay, so now coming to sprint backlog. Sprint backlog means as you all know that right now all the organizations are following 2 weeks or 3 weeks of sprint. So what we will do, so from product backlog we'll consider 15 to 20 backlog items which we can release in a sprint. So in 2 weeks of sprint, if it is achievable, suppose 10 to 15 or 15 to 20, based on the size of the feature, based on the complexity of the feature, what we will do, we will add, I'm just giving one example, we'll add around 15 backlog items within that particular 2 weeks of sprint. We have to implement, we have to test it, and we have to give a demo to the client. And if they are happy, then we can release those 15 backlog items to the client that these 15 backlog items are ready and ready for the production. Okay, so in sprint backlog, we'll consider only few backlog items and we'll pull those backlog items from the product backlog. Okay, because in product backlog, we have considered only 100 backlog items. Okay, so now from that particular numbers, we'll consider only 15. We'll not add all the 100 backlog items within 2 weeks of sprint. Obviously, it is not achievable, right? So within 2 weeks of sprint, I'm considering only 15 backlog items and will add those backlog items from the product backlog. So in product backlog, there are 100 backlog items which we are prioritized. Out of 100, we'll consider only 15 backlog items and we'll add those into our sprint backlog. And developer will implement those, testers will test it, and finally, we have to complete it before the sprint end date. Okay. So which are doable or achievable, only those backlog items we'll consider in a sprint backlog and we'll pull those backlog items from the product backlog. Okay, that is the meaning of sprint backlog. So once this particular 2 weeks of sprint is over, then what we'll do from the next sprint, we'll do the same thing. Another 15 backlog items we'll pick from the product backlog, we'll implement, we'll test it and we'll release. So in this way, we have to proceed. Okay, so what is sprint backlog? Okay, so we'll consider few backlog items from product backlog and we'll add it to sprint backlog section. Okay, so in a single word, if you want to understand the backlog, product backlog, and sprint backlog, that then backlog means the list of work items or tasks that needs to be completed because those all are pending items which we have to implement and we have to release to the client. That is the meaning of backlog. Okay, product backlog means product owner will prioritize those backlog items. So out of 400, we are considering only 100 backlog items and we will add it to our product shared location or a repository location for the implementation. That is the meaning of product backlogs. Okay, so out of 400, we are considering only major functionalities in our product backlog section. And sprint backlog means as it is a 2 weeks or 3 weeks of sprint, we are considering only 15 to 20 backlog items. Those items we are pulling from the product backlog and we will implement this and we have to release before the sprint end date. So in this way, we have to proceed further and finally we have to release all the 400 work items to the client or shared or client or stakeholder. Okay, so that is the agenda. Okay, so I hope it is clear for everyone now. Thank you.